Hello and welcome to the Business English Podcast. I'm Rob and I'm thrilled you're joining me today. Let me start with a quick story. Imagine Charlie, a dedicated, hardworking professional who's just been promoted to manage a global marketing team based out of London. The catch? Half his team works remotely from different parts of Europe and Asia, and the other half works on-site but only a few days a week. One Monday morning, Charlie logs into his virtual meeting, ready to kickstart the week. And that's when it hits him. Setting goals is tricky, feedback gets lost in translation, and it's challenging to keep the team spirit alive when everyone's scattered across different time zones and different spaces. Have you ever felt that same uncertainty? Maybe you've wondered how to clearly communicate tasks without sounding too demanding or too vague. Perhaps you've worried about keeping your remote colleagues motivated or finding the right words to show appreciation and keep the energy high. If you've been there, you're in the right place. Today, we're going to tackle these exact challenges, and I'll be sharing not just the strategies, but also the specific phrases that can transform your leadership approach. Why is this so important, you may ask? Well, think about it. With more of us working remotely or in hybrid teams, business English skills have never been more essential. So, stick around. By the end of this episode, you'll have practical language tools to set crystal clear goals, deliver constructive feedback, and build a strong sense of unity among remote team members. But here's the big question. How do you make virtual leadership feel as natural and engaging as face-to-face conversation? We'll dive into that, including a few common mistakes you'll want to avoid. Trust me, some of them may surprise you actually. So stay tuned because I'll be revealing my best tips on using business English to lead and motivate from anywhere in the world. Ready to discover how you can level up your remote leadership communication? Great, let's get started. Okay, let's talk about why it's absolutely critical to master the art of virtual leadership communication in today's fast-changing business landscape. Picture this. Your team members are spread across different time zones, some in Europe, others in Asia, and maybe a few are just down the street working from their home offices. The old way of dropping by someone's desk to clarify tasks or offer encouragement is gone. Yet, your leadership responsibilities remain the same. So how do you make sure your message comes across clearly without losing that personal touch? It all starts with understanding the importance of effective virtual communication. When people hear the right words in the right tone, they're more likely to trust you and feel motivated. It fosters clarity in day-to-day tasks, reduces misunderstandings that can slow projects down, and ultimately helps you build a cohesive team, even if everyone's physically apart. Yes, the stakes are high because any miscommunication can snowball into confusion, missed deadlines, and a drop in morale. Now, here's where business English can make or break your success as a remote leader. If you can set and clarify goals so every team member knows exactly what to do, you're already saving yourself a lot of back and forth. If you can give constructive feedback in a supportive yet straightforward way, you encourage continuous improvement without sounding harsh. And if you can foster a sense of belonging, even from distance, then you're tapping into your team's best energy. Let me share a few scenarios to bring this to life. Scenario 1. It's Monday morning and you're leading the weekly kickoff meeting. You need to articulate the main targets clearly and concisely. The words you choose can mean the difference between team members getting excited about the week's challenges or logging off feeling uncertain about what's ahead. Okay, scenario 2. You have a one-on-one feedback session with a team member who's feeling disconnected. Using empathetic yet direct language could turn the conversation from potentially awkward to genuinely uplifting. How you phrase your points and the tone you use can build mutual respect and much needed motivation. Scenario 3. You're planning a virtual team building activity. Maybe it's a quick online game or a cultural exchange. You want your invitation to sound inviting and inclusive, something that can actually spark engagement and fun, instead of feeling like just another obligatory call on everyone's calendar. Think about how these scenarios might play out in your own workplace. If you're not fully confident in your business English communication, you might end up sounding too abrupt, too vague, or worse, completely misunderstood. But stay tuned, because in a moment I'll share practical tips and phrases that can help you avoid those pitfalls and stand out as a strong, empathetic leader in remote or hybrid environments. Sound good? Great, because up next we'll break down the exact language structures and expressions you can use to make each interaction smooth and productive. Don't go anywhere, this could be the turning point in your leadership journey. Okay, let's keep sharpening our virtual leadership communication. Before we dive into today's key phrases, I have a quick favour to ask. If you haven't already, sign up for our weekly newsletter called the 3-Minute Minutes. It's packed with powerful professional resources, plus you'll get a transcript from an episode so you can practice and review at your own pace. The link is in the show notes. Now, let's jump into the right language you can use to lead remote or hybrid teams effectively. Setting goals. Phrase 1. Our primary objective this week is. Our primary objective this week is. Use this when you want to pinpoint your team's main focus, such as increasing social media engagement or finalizing a project deliverable. Notice the word objective. It's more formal than goal and emphasizes the importance of the task at hand. Phrase 2. Let's aim to complete X by Friday. Let's aim to complete X by Friday. This phrase sets a clear deadline while keeping the tone inclusive and motivating. Let's aim suggests teamwork rather than command, which can boost morale. Phrase 3. Could you provide updates on your progress every other day? Could you provide updates on your progress every other day? This is a polite request rather than a demand. Notice how every other day is more specific than often. It helps avoid ambiguity and keeps your timeline in check. Giving feedback. Phrase 1. I appreciate how you handled X, especially the way you. I appreciate how you handled X, especially the way you. This phrase highlights positivity before suggesting improvements. Words like appreciate and especially show you notice their effort and value their work. Phrase 2. To make it even better, next time consider. To make it even better, next time consider. Use this phrase to give gentle, constructive feedback. Consider is a softer verb than do this, which helps maintain a respectful tone. Phrase 3. Let's schedule a quick call to go over the details further. Let's schedule a quick call to go over the details further. This is a great closing line for a feedback conversation, inviting collaboration and ensuring everyone is on the same page. Go over keeps it casual but still professional. Fostering team spirit. Phrase 1. Thank you everyone for your hard work. Let's keep up the great momentum. Thank you everyone for your hard work. Let's keep up the great momentum. This phrase is perfect for group calls, celebrating achievements while propelling the team forward. Notice the positivity in keep up the great momentum, which suggests continuity. Phrase 2. I'd love to hear your ideas. Please share them in our next meeting. I'd love to hear your ideas. Please share them in the next meeting. Inviting input boosts engagement, especially from remote members who might feel less visible. I'd love to hear personalizes this request. Phrase 3. Let's plan a short virtual coffee break to catch up informally. Let's plan a short virtual coffee break to catch up informally. This is a friendly way to encourage off-topic chit-chat, which can do wonders for team bonding. Adding informally lets people know it's not a formal meeting, just a casual catch-up. These phrases are your building blocks for leading remote and hybrid teams, with clarity and empathy. In the next segment, we'll dig into common pitfalls many non-native speakers face and how you can avoid them. So stay tuned. Okay, let's talk about common pitfalls and how to avoid them. Sometimes it's easy to make small mistakes that can create big misunderstandings. By the end of this section, you'll know exactly what to watch out for and how to sidestep these issues. First up, using overly direct language. Many non-native speakers think being direct shows confidence, but in English, especially in a professional context, too much directness can sound abrupt or even rude. For example, saying "do this now" might be efficient, but it can alienate your team. Instead, you might say, "Could you take care of this today, please?" It's a subtle shift, but it makes all the difference in tone. Another big mistake is being too vague when setting expectations. We've all heard it, we need this soon. But what does soon really mean? An hour? A week? It's safer and more professional to specify, like, I'd appreciate it if you could complete this by Wednesday afternoon. That way, your team knows exactly what's expected. Beware also of overusing jargon or filler phrases. Everyone wants to sound in the loop, but too much trendy business slang can cause confusion, especially for multinational teams. If you catch yourself saying something like, "Let's circle back on the synergy," pause. Instead, try, "Let's revisit how these teams can work together more effectively next Monday." It's clearer and sounds more natural. Now let's talk pro tips. First, use inclusive language like "we," "our team," and "let's." It fosters collaboration and shows you value everyone's contribution. Second, keep messages concise but polite, especially in written communication like emails or Slack messages. Rambling explanations can cause your main points to get lost. And here's a good one. Double check important instructions for clarity before sending them out. Sometimes even a quick read through can catch those little typos or ambiguous phrases. By paying attention to these pitfalls and applying these tips, you'll see a real difference in how smoothly your remote interactions go. Next up, we'll wrap up everything we've covered and give you a final challenge to put these skills to the test. Trust me, you won't want to miss it. I hope today's episode gave you fresh insights on leading and motivating remote or hybrid teams. If you found these strategies helpful, there's more where that came from, so be sure to subscribe and share this episode with a colleague or friend who might also benefit. Before I sign off, here's one final tip to supercharge your virtual leadership. Start meetings with a quick personal check-in. By simply asking, "How's everyone doing today?" you'll humanize the work environment and boost team spirit, especially important when you're not meeting face-to-face. It sounds small, but trust me, it can make all the difference in keeping remote teams connected and engaged. In the next episode, we'll explore another key aspect of professional communication that might just change the way you handle client relationships. Until then, keep practicing, stay sharp, and of course, keep it strictly business.